What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. The moment you guys been waiting for. Picks. The Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks play game one of the NBA Finals this Thursday. Let's start with game one. Who do you have taking game one, Chas?
Oh man, that's a tough question because you might say this is a cop out, but I actually think whoever wins game one is going to go on to win the series. So it's hard for me to say.
Why is that?
I just think this is two even teams, and my gut instinct initially was the Mavericks. They've been the best teams throughout the playoffs. I think they're battle tested, like I said earlier. They've beat three different 50-win teams. Obviously, Minnesota was coming off a high against the Denver series, and Dallas completely shuts them down, looks dominant in that series. Luka is the best player in this final series. So my gut instinct was Mavericks. Then I started to think about it. Celtics, more balanced team. And you're laughing at this is why I hate picks, because I overthink it so much. It's
And
exp
this and this is also why it's not an overwhelming favorite for Boston. So
exactly.
you see, yeah,
Yeah, it could go either way, and I think we both agreed on that, even though the consensus is that Boston is the heavy favorite. And it's crazy too, because we get these 9 or 10 days off without any basketball. So every single day I'm thinking about
yeah,
it and I'm going back and forth. So like I said,
yeah.
Mavericks initially, then I moved to the Celtics. They're more balanced. They've been the best team all year. They might not have the best player, but they probably have, five of the top 7 or 8 players out there. So I kind of started to think that I'm going to go with them, and I've been going back and forth on it. I think I'm going to settle on
Moment of truth.
yeah, I think I'm going to
Moment of
settle
truth.
on Dallas. I think if Porzingis was completely healthy and we saw him play throughout the playoffs and he was playing like he did during the regular season, and this Celtics team was clicking on all cylinders like we saw during the regular season, I would feel more confident about picking them. But to me, from what we've seen over the past 6 weeks, or even if you want to extend that, what we've seen since the trade deadline, and this Mavericks team added two legitimate starters to their team in PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively has continued to grow throughout his rookie season. Derek Jones Jr. has now slid into that role as the defensive lockdown on the wing. Like I said, I've gone back and forth. It's hard for me because I always like when a team is on the verge of winning it and you can see them getting to that point and they can't quite get it done, they can't quite get it done, and then they finally finish the journey. I feel like that's something we kind of see throughout the NBA all the time. We have to see a team lose before they win it all. And the Celtics have done more of that than most franchises in NBA history. I mean, like I said earlier, six conference finals appearances in 8 years has only been done single digit times throughout the history of the league. And they are the only team of that group that has not won it all. I think they got a chance to. I think there's a legitimate shot for the Celtics to win it, but I'm gonna go Mavericks in seven. Like I said though, I think whoever wins game one is gonna win the series. So if the Celtics can protect home court and go out there and win game one, I think they got just as good of a shot to, but it's hard for me to pick against Luca and Kyrie at this point. So I'm gonna go Mavericks in seven.
I don't know how you may perceive this answer. I don't think I've ever described a NBA Finals this way, but I think the first team to two wins will win this first. I do believe this is a matchup that can potentially go back and forth between both teams because they're that evenly matched up. And so I could see a scenario where each opposing team steals home court advantage or a home game on the other's floor. That's very possible to happen in this series.
For sure.
Um, and so I do suspect that the team that gets to the second victory first, I think they win this series exponentially, and I think the odds exponentially increases because now you're putting the other team in a situation where if Boston wins, say they win two out of the first three, now the Mavs have to win three out of the next what, four? Three out of the next four games to win this series, and vice versa. And so I think it becomes a tall hill to climb, especially for the Mavs and their best player because they've never been here before. Kyrie has, but Luka hasn't. For a team that's been there like Boston, this is a new to them. They've been to the NBA Finals before. They haven't won, but they understand the pressure, the media. Instead of getting the normal media size, now you have 30 to 60 media outlets for the NBA Finals, 100 maybe for the NBA Finals. Everyone that comes there, so there's a different atmosphere, it's a different aura that the Boston Celtics have been through before that Luka hasn't been through yet, and as the best player in this series, how does he navigate through that? Um, so I don't expect Luka to go out guns blazing 40, 50 point games. Will he struggle? Maybe. Name me a superstar on a level of him that hasn't struggled in at least one NBA Finals in their career. I mean, Bird had two. I mean, he averaged single digit in three games in the NBA Finals, eight, and I think nine one of them. So it happens. It happens to the best. LeBron, when he went against the Mavericks, the meltdown. He melted down against Dallas Mavericks the first time. Steph in 2015 didn't. I mean, not in 2015, 2016 didn't have the best finals. He blew a 3-1 lead. So it happens to the best. Kevin Durant, he was young when he first finals he went to. He didn't particularly perform at the best. I think Russell Westbrook was the best player on that team. And so it happens to great players where they don't really perform when it's their first finals or their second finals. They don't always perform up to their standard.
Yeah.
Having said that, I do have the Mavs winning game one, and I do have the Mavs winning this series. I think when it comes down to is that I believe the dynamic duo of Luka and Kyrie will be a little bit too much for Boston to handle. On the flip side of it, I do believe Jason Tatum has the most pressure on him than anybody in this, everyone combined. You could say everybody on and both perspective rosters combined. That's how much pressure is on Jason Tatum to win this finals. Again, I'm a firm believer and I'm of the belief he does not have to win this finals. I don't think he should be crushed if he loses. I don't think he's 26 years old. The objective here is that, and what we're thinking in the future is that he's going to be in more NBA finals. But you never know. You never know because you never know what will be your first and last NBA finals. And so if there was a golden opportunity for Boston to win, it is right now. Giannis was out. Halliburton was out. Mitchell was out. They cakewalked through the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference. Joel Embiid was hurt. You bypassed it, the Sixers. You bypassed the Knicks. Even the Knicks were banged up. So this is a golden ticket for Boston to claim that prize of a chip. Because next year, who knows? 76ers, will they go out and get Paul George? Will they add to that roster and become a three-headed monster with Maxey and Embiid and George? The Bucks, another year under the belt with Dame and Giannis. That's going to be better. The Knicks, will they go out and get another piece to put them over the hump? Halliburton and I'm sorry, I'm fading out on his name. He was just traded to the Indiana Pacers. Yeah, Siakam. Yeah, another year, like a full training camp under the belt and year under their belt with that team. They're going to jail, and so you never know we're going to get another opportunity to get to the mountaintop. And so I believe this is a golden ticket for Boston to win. However, I do have the Mavs winning this series in 6 games. I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think they can survive the onslaught of Kyrie and Luka together. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. With the bigs playing the way that they play, with Kyrie and Luka being dynamic, I suspect one of them will be off at some point in this series. I believe that they can overcome it. I believe Boston cannot.
Yeah, and I think we both agree that this series is going to be tight and there's going to be a lot of close games. And to me, there's no question which team we trust more in crunch time, and that's the Mavericks with their two-headed monster, with the way that they've shown that they can score at any given time down the stretch of these games. And they've been proving that ever since the trade deadline and even more so during the playoffs. So I'm going Mavericks in seven, but I think this series could go either way. I like what you said. I think that's a good point about first team to two wins because I do agree, or I think first two games they split. I don't know which order, but I think they split those first two games. So to go to your point, I think game three in Dallas is going to be huge because whatever
If
team takes a 2-1 lead is going to be very critical. So I'm going Mavericks in seven, but if Boston wins game one and Porzingis looks like he did throughout the regular season and it doesn't look like that calf strain is holding him back at all, then I think Celtics have a great chance to do so. But to me, I'm going to go with the team that I trust a little bit more in crunch time. And like I said, that's Dallas.
Luka's your Finals MVP.
Yeah, yep. I'm going Luca. I think there is a scenario where maybe Kyrie is just absolutely off the charts and he's able to win that award. But as we've seen throughout the last several years, this team goes as Luca does, and he is the best player in this series. So I'm gonna go Finals MVP for Luca as well.
Even if Boston, say Boston role players come to play,
Mm.
but Jason Tatum is struggling, do you still think Boston has a shot to win this series?
Not if he struggles. No, I think
Not if
there's
he struggles.
no, I think if Luca and Kyrie outplay Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, the Celtics can still win the series as long as those guys are still good, even if they're not as good or as great as the Mavericks duo. If they're able to match, 90, 95% of that production, and then the role guys can make up whatever difference that is, I can see the Celtics winning. But if you say Tatum or Brown are struggling, like if Tatum has the series that he had in 22, where he had two games with less than 15 points, and I think 4 out of the 6 games, he shot less than 40% from the field. Obviously, he turned the ball over a ton in that series. If he plays like that again, then I think the Mavericks win it, not easily, but I think they're going to be a clear winner. But I do think those role guys are going to be what swings the series. So I could see the Celtics.
So Boston for their players, their stars cannot struggle, in your opinion.
I don't think either team stars can struggle.
So you don't think if Kyrie is struggling that even if Luka's balling and Kyrie's struggling, you don't think the Mavs can withstand that?
I think they could for a game or two, but I don't think they could win 4 games like that.
Oh no, no, absolutely not. And vice versa. If Tatum is struggling but Brown is on. But see, here's the thing though. I don't necessarily think Brown has that ability to take over a game. I think it's combined elements of the Celtics that aid him in doing that. Which meaning the bench is doing good. They're clicking on all cylinders. Now he's being able to click on all cylinders. He's hitting threes. He got 30, 35 points. I believe it's collective effort. I believe Luka could go out there and his bench is terrible.
Yeah.
But he's out there and he got 40 points
Mhm.
and he's being a one man show and taking over. I don't think the Celtics have that luxury. I don't think the Celtics can do that and still win. I think the Mavs can do that and still win a game, not the series, but they still could win a game. If you flip that scenario and put Boston in that position, I don't think Boston has a chance to win a single game in that scenario.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like I said earlier, these two teams, they need to do what they've done all season long. And for the Celtics, that's play a balanced attack and get a contribution from all 5 or 6 guys in that rotation. While the Mavericks, they really just need 2 guys to play at that level and then the other guys to not be bad. PJ Washington doesn't need to score 25. He needs to score 10. You know what I mean? Like you need those guys to play well, but you don't necessarily need them to play at the same level that the Celtics need their role players to do so.
One word, one sentence. Which coach do you trust more?
Oh, Jason Kidd, there's no question about it. I think
Why
Joe
is that?
I think Joe Mazzulla has really improved this season. I think he's a much better coach than he was a year ago, I should say. But Jason Kidd, I feel like he's really impressed me throughout this playoff run. I feel like he's really been able to kind of feel his team out and he knows what to do. He's able to make the substitution when PJ Washington isn't clicking and he puts a guy like Josh Green in there, or if the role guys aren't scoring at the level that they should, you put a guy like Jaden Hardy in the game because even though he's not a great defender, he can go score 7 points in 3 minutes and he can give you a lift off the bench. I also think his decision making with the bigs has been really key. At times, it makes more sense to have Lively in there. Other times, I think Gafford's a better fit. Maybe Maxi Kleba, like I said earlier, he's healthy now. Maybe he's going to play a significant role in the series. I feel like Jason Kidd has just been on it the entire playoffs, and he's known exactly what his team needs. And then as the team, they get into those final 3 or 4 minutes, and they know what they have to do, and they know what they can rely on. And I feel like Kidd has done that at an elite level throughout the entire playoffs, and he's really proved to me. He was kind of scrutinized throughout his coaching career, and there have been times
Yeah,
where he hasn't looked great. But I think this has obviously been the best coaching job that he's done.
absolutely, absolutely. And guys, thank you for joining us today. This has been one of our best previews that we've ever done for NBA Finals, in my opinion. Um, we're looking forward to this finals. We're so psyched for it.
Can't
There are
wait.
so many there's so many storylines that you can tap into in this, between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. We both have the Mavs winning this series. We will be back next week to break down all of the games that's happened while we were gone. But for now, follow us on YouTube at Spoken Truth. Follow us on TikTok at Spoken Truth Pod.